Hi guys, and welcome to another video. And we've got a switch up this week. I'm actually working the days this week, so I'm working the day shifts instead of the nights. The normal day guys off for 3 weeks, etc. So I've got a couple of weeks of sort of day shifts coming up, and it's been interesting. It's now Wednesday, so I've been doing it for the last 3 days, etc. And there has been some strange decisions going on around here. Literally, 15 seconds ago, I had a woman and a toddler, I would say a kid that's under 4, decide that they was just going to kind of mosey on into the site. And as I went to get out, she kind of turned and walked in another direction and then went to cut across the grass. And then I just said, "You're not allowed on this site," etc. And she did kind of blanked me and kind of walked off. But it's a strange decision that you would look at a site with clear signs saying that there's security dogs patrolling the site, and she was 20 yards from a van that's got caution security dogs on it, and she decides to still walk in anyway. The other day, a toddler, I just looked over and there was a toddler again, a kid under 4, that was just walking around my site. And as I got out, went over, and all of a sudden the mum come round the corner, and the mum said, "Oh, she sort of just run off. She ran off in a direction and I wasn't able to catch her." And I would say that the kid managed to go about 40 yards before the mum was even in sight. And again, walking past a clear sign that says that there's security dogs, I would hazard a guess if that kid was running towards a road that she would have been able to catch her within 40 yards. I'm actually on the lookout now for a guy who cut across site yesterday. He's just cutting through and using the public footpath. I use common sense, so there is sort of a little bit of a grass section where people are going to cut across, and it's not interfering with sight. It's going nowhere near the building, going nowhere near the car park. I use my common sense to that, because if I get out and I do that, I'll be out the van every 5 minutes, and it'll just cause a bit of conflict with sort of everyone that's around it. So I use my common sense to a certain degree, but I do have my limits of what I will kind of allow. And I won't allow people to walk on the footpaths within the perimeter of the site. And yesterday a guy done it, and I had Ollie out, because working the day shift I need to have both dogs out, both dogs with me. I'm not going to leave Ollie at home for 10 hours on his own. And I had Ollie out, and I just said to him, "Mate, can you use the footpath, can you not cut through sight?" And he kind of blanked me. So I repeated it again, to which he was on the phone at the time, but to which he actually turned around, said something I couldn't really hear from 30 yards, and then carried on through and out the other side onto the public footpath. So I'm actually waiting for him, because within the next sort of hour was when he done it yesterday. So if he's working on a schedule like his lunch schedule or whatever it is, I'm actually just sitting here waiting to see if he does it again. And I'm going to make sure that I've not got Ollie out at the time. The worst case is I'll have Coop out, but the best case is that I'll just see him come in, I'll put my vest on, and I'll wait for him to step on site, and then I'll go up and have a conversation with him. My idea is that if he decides to do it, is that I'm not going to get too forceful with it. I'm just going to explain the situation, and I'm going to try and make him a bit uncomfortable about coming onto site. So hopefully the point will be that he understands that he's not meant to do it. But if he's going to do it, I'm going to try and make it as uncomfortable for him that he doesn't want to experience that again, to a degree of talking. I'm not going to go hands-on or anything like that, but I'm just going to talk to him in a manner that is going to make him a little bit uncomfortable. In terms of, if he's got a rucksack on, I'm going to start asking him if he's got stuff in that rucksack that he's intending to break into the site, into the building, etc., and ask him them kinds of questions that will make him think, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't do it." I'll ask him a question of, "Are you okay if something happens to this building that I use your image to give to the police as a possible suspect?" Different things like that, just to make him a little bit uncomfortable. So there's another toddler that's loose. Running around. So yeah, that's I'm on the day shift. I've got some, like I say, it's been interesting, obviously, because being out in the day, there's lots of people sort of milling around, and obviously it's quite a working part of this sort of town. So there's obviously lots of people going around. What I have found is, I've said it in the day shift before, is that the day shifts go so much quicker. I think just the case of people people always walking around. There's always something to kind of look at or watch, or get the dog out and do some play, do some training, etc. Obviously do that in the sort of night, but there's sort of certain training that I'm not going to do when it's pitch black, because I don't want the dog to try and aim for, let's say, a tug and miss it and get me. So obviously I try and do that in the sort of light as much as I can, especially this time when it's light until sort of 10 o'clock. But yeah, I've got the dogs out and I've done some play. So what I'll do now is I'll just put in some of the play that I've been doing with the dogs. Obviously they differ between two dogs, so obviously I've got Cooper the GSD, and then I've got Ollie the Spaniel. So obviously my play's a little bit different. I'm trying to do different things, and what I have started doing is that I kind of realise is that I think because of Cooper's ball drive, Ollie doesn't have the drive for a ball that I'm going to require off him. So what I've got is I've got him his own little toy, which is like a little bite tug that is not used for sort of bite development, kind of stuff like that, but he seems to really enjoy it. So I'm going to kind of go with that, and if it comes to the case of that's his reward instead of a ball, and that's what he enjoys doing sort of little tug stuff. So when Coop gets a rope, Ollie enjoys trying to play tug with Coop, and if I get a little tug out, he enjoys playing a little bit of tug. So I think he enjoys the tug side of rewards rather than like a ball. So yeah, I'll put in some of the play that I was doing earlier just as an example of some of the stuff that I've been doing whilst it's daytime. And some new stuff that I've got. What do you think of my new signs? I've got two of them. I've got one on this side, one on the other side. What do you think of them? I got them off second hand, and I think they was made especially. So I don't think there's anywhere that I can send you to get these. But yeah, what do you think of them? I think they're pretty cool. And then also down here, I have got, because it is summer and it's been getting hot, I've got myself a little mini fridge. So this is a sub-cold mini fridge, which I keep some of my chocolate bars and like my Coke and that, just to keep it warm. This has been really good. So with my Bluetti, you guys will know that obviously you have limited amount of power, etc. So with like the plug that you would normally plug into the wall, gives out about 25 watts, which uses about 60 to 70% battery in one 12-hour shift. But it also has a USB which uses 5 watt of energy, which is the same as a phone charger. And that means that I can use this, I can plug it in for 12 hours every week for 5 shifts. So I'll say that's 60 hours. And along with obviously charging my phone every now and then and all the other sort of stuff, I use about 70% battery a week. So my Bluetti, I power this for every shift, for every 12-hour shift, as well as all my other stuff, and use about 70% battery. So yeah, this has been pretty good. Like I say, it's not, I think there's two, I'll put the link in the description below for it. There's a 6 litre and an 8 litre. I've got the 8 litre one, and like I say, it's just a nice way, especially with the weather as it is now, just being able to keep some of your stuff cold and different things like that. So yeah, that's some of the new stuff that I've got. It's been a very uneventful shift, obviously just a few toddlers and that wandering about and different things like that, but as like I say, I've enjoyed being on being on days this week. It is a little bit different because when I'm on nights I get a little bit of time when I get back home before I go to sleep, and then when I get up I normally give myself about 3 hours before I need to leave the house, where working days I'm having all my free time between getting home and going to bed, and then I'm literally getting up and walking out the door. So it is a little bit different. I've had to obviously change the dogs. I've had to change the dogs' eating patterns as well. So I used to, when I get home from every shift, I used to feed them at like 6 a.m. or 6:30 in the morning, and I've had to change that to feeding them in the evenings now. So now they eat at like 6 p.m. Because obviously you don't want the dog having a full belly worth of food and then going and doing exercise and different things like that. So it's much better for the dog to eat when it gets back from work. So yeah, I've had to change their food schedule for the next sort of 3 weeks, etc. But I don't think they mind too much, because basically they just eat when I have dinner. So they're probably eating more like 8 p.m. But they're eating when I eat, etc. And then obviously they sleep that off, and then by the time we go to work the next day, they're ready to do work and that. They haven't got a full stomach worth of food, etc. So I think they're enjoying it. And obviously I'm not gonna, although the exercise for this sort of job is more for the big dog, etc., I'm obviously not going to feed Ollie and not feed Coop, so they just get both fed at the same time. And obviously during the shift and different things like that, they get some treats, they get some cheese and different things like that throughout the shift as well. So it's not as if I'm starving them throughout the shift. They obviously get little treats here and then for doing certain bits and pieces, etc. as well. So, but yeah, that is this video. So I just thought I'd just explain a few things that, like, some of the stuff that's been going on. Obviously with my site without a fence line, during the day you are more likely to get people walking on, because there's obviously more people milling around, etc. But a lot of it is just going to be people just cutting corners. And like I say, especially with like the little bit of grass section out there, if I'd stopped everyone that was cutting a little bit of grass in order to get from one part of the public footpath to the other, I'll be out my van every 5 minutes, and you'd just be being a bit busy. So I'm using my common sense in what is acceptable, what's not acceptable, and what is worth going and talking to people about. And like I say, I've sort of set my boundaries at the footpath, and if people start walking down footpaths within the site perimeter, then I feel that that's the point where they're kind of taking the piss a little bit and cutting through site, rather than just a little bit of a grass section that people save. They only save about 3 seconds worth of walking on a footpath, which in one way, you can never teach a lazy person to be less lazy sometimes, can you? So you just have to kind of accept it and just move on, and like I say, just sort of set what you feel is acceptable and kind of go from there. So guys, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below for loads more videos. Down in the description is going to be my Patreon, so if you like what I do and you want to help support it, then it's down there. Also in the description I'll put a link for the Subcold mini fridge if you're interested. Like I say, it comes with a plug and a USB, so depending on how you want to power it, the USB uses the same amount of energy as a phone charger, so even if you just wanted a little mini fridge at home, it's pretty cool for that kind of stuff as well. And yeah, I'll see you again next week. Cheers for watching. See you later. Bye.